Hello everyone, Mr. Yard here. I'm sharing my computer screen today to talk to you a little bit about bar graphs. Okay, so how we can show and how we can organize data that we might have collected. Okay, so what I'd like to do is talk about a few of the different features of bar graphs, a few of the different things that we should be paying attention to when we're reading bar graphs. Okay, and I'm going to show you a few different examples. Okay. So let's work through the first example. Here, I'm showing you something that is not a bar graph. This is a table. It's a table of information, okay? And we can see at the top here, we have a question that we've asked Miss Chen's class. The question is, what is your favorite food? Okay? And you can see here that people have answered the question, and we've organized that data, that information, into a table. Okay, so this is great. I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people like pizza. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people chose ice cream as their favorite food. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people chose fried chicken. And 1, 2, 3 people chose spaghetti. Okay, so I can read this table. I can look at the different columns and figure out how many people chose each different kind of food. But when it comes to comparing the data, and if I want to be able to read that information quickly, this is maybe not the best way to present the data. Okay, so let's look at this. This is that same information we're talking about, as you can see from the title of this graph, the same information, the favorite foods in Miss Chen's class, but we have organized this in a bar graph. Okay, so this is an example of a vertical bar graph. A vertical bar graph is when the bars are going up and down. They're not going side to side. That would be a horizontal bar graph. Okay, so this is a vertical bar graph, and we can read this graph very easily. Okay, we can see that the different bars are labeled with the different foods. We can also see on this vertical axis, we see a scale. Okay, a scale in a graph is when we have the numbers there. That's going to tell us how many of each thing there is. Okay. Also notice on this vertical axis, we have another title. It says number of students. So I know exactly what these numbers represents, right? If I'm looking at 6, I know I'm talking about 6 students. If I'm looking at 2, we're looking at 2 students, and so on. Okay. The one thing that is missing on this graph would be a title for the horizontal axis, and that could be like favorite foods, but we've got the names of the foods written down here, so we know very well what we're looking at, right? So in the first example, for example, if I just go back to that slide, if I'm just looking at the table, it might be difficult to tell, for example, which is more popular, pizza or ice cream, without sitting and counting and being careful. Here I can clearly see in the bar graph, well, this bar is obviously taller, so this is the most popular food, ice cream. Okay? Let's look at another example. This example is a horizontal bar graph. Okay, so sometimes we can organize our graphs in a horizontal way. Okay, it's kind of your choice. It's kind of up to you how you'd like to present your data. In this case, we're showing it horizontally, but the idea is the same, right? First thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at what are we talking about. We're talking about the weather in July. Okay, that's the data that we're looking at here. On the vertical axis, we're looking at the type of day, and then we can see that there are these names here. There's rainy, cloudy, and sunny. So we know those are the different kinds of days we're talking about. And then on the horizontal axis with the scale, we have the number of days. Okay? So that is giving us all kinds of information already, right? We can do different things. The other thing we should notice too in this scale is we're counting by twos, right? We're counting by twos. So the scale will not always be from, it might not always be counting by ones, like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Sometimes it could be by twos, it could be by fives, it could be by tens. And we'll talk more about scales in a later lesson. Okay. Okay, so what information can we find from this graph? Well, we know that we're talking about the number of days, we're talking about the weather in July. So when it says rainy here, this is telling me that in the month of July, there were 8 rainy days, right? We know that there were 6 6 cloudy days, And sunny days we had, how many would this be? Right in the middle of 16 and 18 would be 17, right? So we're going to read between the lines there, and we know there were 17 sunny days in July. Okay? I'm going to show you guys one more example, and this is especially important for grade 5s. This is something called a double bar graph. So sometimes we can present a lot more information. We can represent two different sets of data on the same bar graph. In this case, we're using that same information from July, but we're also including information for the month of August. And there's this little legend down here that's showing us which color represents which month, right? So July is in blue now, so the rainy days, the cloudy days, and the sunny days are in blue. And for August, we have this orange color, which is telling us the same thing, the number of rainy days in August, the number of cloudy days in August, the number of sunny days in August. Okay, so especially in grade 5, this becomes more important to know what a double bar graph is. And we have two different sets of data, and we're combining them on the same graph. And this is great because then we can compare the information. We can clearly see that in August, there were more sunny days than in July, right? In July, there were more cloudy days and there were more rainy days. So it's a great way for us to compare information, okay? Please give the video another watch if you're not sure about these things before you take the quiz. And of course, if you have any questions, please let a teacher know. Thanks, guys, and see you in the next video.